Dedicated to here on this side, to our founders, we welcome Glazer, Glazer White. Some of you might know, obviously, the guys from Yeshiva were there, know what happened. I don't think I'm being Magalan Soid or being Glazer Lashkara, because I want everyone to realize that he was involved in a bad accident, and his family, his mother and father, his siblings, are extremely grateful. We could say to him and learning for him. This year, Mr. Hashem to be for Schlegel for him to come back completely and totally. He's a wonderful addition, not only to the yeshiva, but in general, I think that people get to know him, the company, he'll come back. He has a very sweet personality, very smart, and he has so much heart. Mr. Hashem, we hope to see him back soon. But I know that the guy's going to be excited. Is the food there, by the way? Is food there already?
No,
Food
not
is
at
there.
all.
Food is there.
No, not a chance.
He started on the food already.
Food on the
Okay,
floor.
everybody,
It was.
I'm going to hand the baton over. Enjoy this year. Mr. Hashem will see you back again next week, okay?
Amen.
Okay. Should we hang up?
Yeah. I'm in the middle of driving here.
Okay.
Easy on the slopes.
Okay. So first of all, welcome everybody,
Welcome.
and thanks for coming, joining. Even though Rav Kivelevich isn't here, and I want to thank Rav Kivelevich. I shouldn't have hung up before the dad for giving me the opportunity to come back and learn here a little bit. And also about Glazer Weiss, that the Shir sponsored for him. We hope in a few weeks he'll be back and he'll be able to sponsor the Shir as a Suda
Amen.
Okay. Okay, so now, I don't have the exact wording of the email that was sent out, but it said on the email that we're going to be talking about Geirus. There's something in Halacha called Geirim Gerurim, meaning Geirim that just attach themselves to us, even though they're not valid Geirim. And it said that we're going to be talking about, what was it? The parsha with the Erev Rav, and we're going to move into Daf Yomi, which is up on the screen. And today's Daf Yomi tells a story about Geirus. And then we're going to be talking about the daily news about Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner, how that works. So, about her, even though it said in the email we're going to be talking about her, I'm not going to actually talk about her, because somewhere in history, somebody somewhere got a phone call and said, "Hi Rabbi, this is Jared Kushner, I have a question about Geirus," and that person wasn't me. So I can't address a question where I'm not involved, but I do know that it says that the Geirus was done according to the RCA guidelines, and Hershel Schachter gave his approval for this Geirus. So we're not talking about this particular case. We're going to talk about a hypothetical case where a man and a woman are in a relationship, and the woman isn't Jewish, and then the woman converts, and then they marry. So we're talking about a purely hypothetical case. Also, before we start the subject, I want to just bring out Rav Belsky Zatzal used to always say, whenever it came to a Geirus, he used to call the Ger aside, the convert, and he used to tell him, that, we have a mitzvah in the Torah. We have two mitzvahs about our parents. So we have to honor our parents and respect our parents. Kibbud Amoyim. But there's no mitzvah to love your parents. Even though for some people it's not so easy. There's no mitzvah to love your parents. So he says there's no mitzvah to love your parents, but then when it comes to Geirim, all of a sudden there's many mitzvahs in the Torah. The Torah repeats it in many places that we have a mitzvah to love the Geirim. So we see the importance that the Torah attaches to the mitzvah of loving Geirim. So it's a big deal. Now we have to understand again the Erev Rav. We said, so first of all, let's just bring a little bit of a picture of what the Erev Rav was. The Erev Rav, we're used to, we hear about the Erev Rav, that V'gam Erev Rav Olei Mohem, that they came up from Mitzrayim, and I think ArtScroll translates it as a mixed multitude. So we hear these words because that Erev means mixed, and Rav means a lot. But we're used to hearing with the Erev Rav, they're the ones that did the Egel, and they're the one, and we just put it together with Dasan and Aviram, and we think about these three people, the Erev Rav, we don't really wrap our minds around the concept that there were 600,000 adult males between the age of 20 and 60 that left Mitzrayim. So, and then you have Rav Aryeh Kaplan's estimate of 3 million people that were, that's the number that people use. There were 3 million people.
There's 3 million Jews?
There were 3 million Jews. So when you talk about 3 million Jews and then a multitude that was connected, you're not talking about 10,000 people. You're talking about a multitude. So you're talking about a very big, group of people. So what does that mean that they were Megayah? So it is. It's a little bit different because that was before Matan Torah and nobody was really Jewish yet. So that's not really so much of a question. But we have to move. Then we have later on we have Shlomo HaMelech who married all of his non-Jewish wives, which were all married. They were all Megayah and they were married. We have, and then we move on to our Daf Yomi here today. So the Daf Yomi brings a story that's discussing. Anybody here is learning Daf Yomi?
Today's daf.
Up until now, we did all the cheshbonis and the math. Now we're back to Agadata. So the Gemara is talking about the story of Antoninus and Rabbi, and the relationship between the Roman emperor and the leader of Judaism. And the Gemara says, Antoninus asked Rabbi, am I going to have a chelik in Olam Haba? What about my chelik in Olam Haba? So Rabbi says, certainly, yeah, sure, you're going to have a chelik in Olam Haba. So Antoninus said, but my family is from Esav, and there's a pasuk that says that Esav is never going to become a part of Klal Yisrael. Esav is never going to reach Olam Haba. So Rabbi says, what?
Where's that from?
The pasuk is right up here. Lo yiyeh sarid l'beis Esav. That there won't be a remnant to base Esav. Nothing's going to remain of Esav. So Rabbi says, well, ba'osim ma'aseh Esav. You see it up there on the screen. So then the Gemara brings a pasuk, where the pasuk says, Shama Edom. That's where Edom is going to be, and it's referring to Gehenna. Shama Edom, Melachah, her kings, the Kol Nesiah, and all her princes. So he says, it says Kol Nesiah, but it doesn't say Kol Melachah, all of the kings. So you Antoninus, you're the king that's going to make it to Olam Haba. So, and then the Gemara goes on that it says Kol Nesiah, but it doesn't say Kol Sareha. So there will be certain other ministers or people in high positions of authority in the Roman government that are also going to make it to Gan Eden, to Olam Haba. And the Gemara brings the story of Ketia Bar Shalom right here. Ketia Bar Shalom. So what was the story with Ketia Bar Shalom? And the Gemara says that there was a certain king who wanted to make a final solution to the Jewish problem. And so there was a big meeting, a cabinet meeting, and this one fellow, Ketia Bar Shalom, piped up that it's a waste of your time because the Jews are all spread out all over the world, and you'll get to Russia and it's going to be too cold, and your soldiers are going to freeze, and then the next thing you know, the Americans are going to be in Berlin. Forget about it; it doesn't work. So this emperor, I guess, was an all or nothing type of guy. He said, well, you're right. It's either all or nothing. It's not going to work out. You're right. But he said there's one problem though, because you can't best an emperor in an argument. You can't have a debate with an emperor and win it. So we're going to have to take care of that. We're going to have to make sure nobody remembers that anybody ever won this argument, and you are going to have to be eliminated. It's okay. So they're taking him to the executioner, Ketia Bar Shalom, and this woman calls out after him, and she says, "Wait, you don't have a visa." So she wasn't talking about a credit card. She was talking about a passport. If somebody's traveling to Australia, and not with an airplane, he's traveling with a ship. So it's a journey. It takes time, and it's danger. It's a long way, and there's pirates and this and that. So imagine he sets out on this long journey, and he gets there. He arrives to the port, and they ask him. The border officials ask him, "So where are your papers?" He says, "What papers?" They say, "Your passport, something." "I don't have." "What do you mean you don't have? They ship you right back, if you're lucky. They ship you right back, and you have to go through the whole thing again." So this woman was telling him. She said, if you're killing yourself for the Jews. You're being Moisen Nefesh for Klal Yisrael, at least you should have a bris. If you have a bris, you go into Gan Eden. So Gemara says, Nafal al Urlasai, he was mal himself somehow in chains. He managed to do it, and then Abasko went out and said, Tia Bar Shalom is coming to Chayei Olam Haba. So we see again over here is a case where in today's Daf Yomi where there's a ger that was megayer, but there was no beis din there, and there was no kabbalah mitzvahs. There was nothing. He came and he was mal himself, however that worked, and he became a part of Klal Yisrael. So how does that work? On the one hand, we see that when you look at the Rambam, it's a very strict procedure you have to follow.
This is how he became part of Klal Yisrael. He was just getting a reward.
So look in Tosfos over here, the bottom Tosfos. Tosfos brings that there was a similar story with Antoninus, and he brings the Yishalmi, and the last line over there, Adam Omer Igayer Antoninus. Antoninus was Megayer. What do you mean he was Megayer? Antoninus didn't come stand before a beis din. The stories in Shas to substantiate that. I don't have time to go into everything. But Antoninus wasn't ready to stand in front of a beis din. Still, we see he's cool that he was Megayer. We know that the procedure for Geirus is that you have to go to a beis din. You have to have Kabbalah mitzvahs. So you make Kabbalah the mitzvahs.